Welcome, fellow Wildcats, to our first sixth grade artistry production of the year. Hope you guys had a good summer. We're going to be talking about an artist named Grant Wood, his most famous painting, American Gothic, and specifically talk about his background, his influences, American Gothic, what a composition is, and what a parody is. With that being said, let's get started. This is American artist Grant Wood. Grant was born in 1891 and grew up in a small town in Iowa. Being raised in Iowa, he pulled much of his inspiration from rural life. He enjoyed capturing small town life such as fields, animals, farms, and landscapes. This pioneered his type of artwork called regionalism. Here's an example of one of Grant Wood's paintings called Arbor Day. As you can see, it clearly shows Midwestern life, his love for people, and the farmland. He goes into great detail to show his passion for the Midwest. Where you may have not heard the name Grant Wood, I'm sure most of you have seen his most famous work. The painting I'm talking about is American Gothic, so called because of the Gothic-style window you see at the top of the house, behind the two figures. One day, as he was driving by a house in a small town of Iowa, the window caught his eye. He took out an envelope and sketched at the house and window and background. The finished product you see appears to be a husband and wife dressed in the attire of those times standing in front of their home. If you thought they were husband and wife, you couldn't be more wrong. It happens to be his dentist and sister. Wood put a silly twist on his painting while still holding to his regionalism style. Adding a silly twist on something is called a parody. Let's take a look at some examples of other artists' reproductions of American Gothic. If you look closely and compare it to the original, you will see they have similarities and differences. The similarities being because the artist used the same composition as the original. Composition is the arrangement of parts in any work. The differences involve changing some of the parts of the composition. As you can see in the Star Wars parody, the artist used the same figures while the Alice in Wonderland took its own direction entirely. So you might ask yourself, what makes up the American Gothic composition? These things include the subjects, meaning the people, the house, window, trees, barn, pitchfork, and brooch. It's a composite. A composite is an arrangement of parts within a given work. So with American Gothic, it is all the things that make up American Gothic. In this case, it is the people, the pitchfork, the brooch, the house, the trees, and the barn. So how do we set that up? So how do we put a composite together? I'm going to give you a brief overview of how it starts, and it all starts with the window. Okay, so at the top of your paper, we're going to draw a triangle, and inside that triangle is going to be the window. The window is going to fill most of the triangle, so don't make it small. If you look at the composite of American Gothic, the gentleman's head starts at the top of the window. So you can put a little line up there. And the length of his head is the length of two of the windows. So if you take the window and go down 1, 2, that will give you the size of his head. And that is generally how you get started. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to give you a sheet of paper that looks like this, and it's going to tell you exactly how to map out your own American Gothic. Now, what you put into it is going to be up to you, but this will help you map it out. As you can see here, I have a couple examples. One is an example I did, and one's a student example. But as you can see, the composites are still the same. We still have our two figures. We still have something in place for the pitchfork. I have my two characters, the house, the spaceship, and the door replaces the window, and the trees and the barn. Same with the Super Mario example. We have Toadstool and Mario. He did reuse the pitchfork, but he replaced the different parts of the composite with ideas of his own. Here's another quick example, guys, of what you can do with the composition. Here they use the SpongeBob. Instead of the house, they use SpongeBob's house. They put the window in, Patrick. They put him in a wig, and SpongeBob, obviously you can see he's carrying a spatula. But these are some of the small things you can do, and this is just another idea. All right, guys. So we're on to the uh, creative portion where we decide what we're going to draw. If you guys are struggling to come up with ideas, you can come up, use anything you want. And if I a lot of times I go to Google. So here, as you can see, I've gone to Google under images and I typed in American Gothic parodies. Up at the top, it's going to give you a slew of ideas, and you can just scroll through here and find things that interest you. Well, sixth grade, with all that being said, that's the kind of the end of this video. And I hope you learned a little something about Grant Wood, American Gothic, compositing, and what a parody is. And use this time to talk to your classmates, be creative, come up with ideas. Like I said, use Google to look up ideas, and we'll start putting this project together. And hope you have a good day.